as we got set and ready to go. A lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And, of course, we are here on social media with you all the time, 24/7, heck, 25/7, on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have our trio of Signature Friday segments, starting off with the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we will move on to Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Today's topic, faith is a good thing. And we'll get into our Top Dog of the Week announcement, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And we'll round things off with head coach of the St. Anselm Hawks football program, Mr. Joe Adam. Very good friend of mine. We met when he was working under Scott Schaefer at Syracuse as the offensive line coach for the football program. And since he left, he's been at St. Anselm. He's done a tremendous job. And this weekend, they play New Haven at home in New Hampshire. If they win, St. Anselm will have, with just one game to go in the regular season, they will have the outright first place in the Northeast 10 Conference. Awesome. Cannot wait to talk with Joe about faith, family, and football in just a little bit. So with that being said, the Annoying Moment of the Week. Here we go.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The Annoying Moment of the Week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like. And I love that intro all the time. Big time shout out to my former producer, Mr. Nicolo Cicero, who helped me put that together. Appreciate it very much. So just thank his expertise on that. Happy to be here with you. Happy to bring you the Annoying Moment of the Week. And just happy to give you some real talk here on our morning show, as always, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And sometimes it's a morning show and sometimes it's a nighttime show, because we do those live on-site, on-location broadcasts as well, which means a lot to me. So I want to thank everyone that shows up to them. I want to thank everyone who's been a part of them, all of the wonderful student athletes and coaches and administration and everybody who's joined me live for a wake-up call with Dan Tortora on-site, on-location at so many different places, including but not limited to Avicoli's, as well as Pizza Man and the Wildcat. So many thanks to all of you for hanging out with me on-site around the community and for watching all around the country and the world. I truly appreciate that so very much. So, with that being said, it's time to get into the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. So let's jump right into the Annoying Moment. And, to me, listen, this is an election year. And an election year, typically, people have been very polarized. Very, very polarized by the media. Extremely polarized by the media. And I'm not going to say the media is the only reason why you're polarized, but they haven't helped. The media's job, and by definition, my badge says that I'm in the media as well, even though I don't act like most of them. The media's job is to tell you the truth. Our job is to present to you the facts and let you form an opinion. I have my opinion. Like, for example, I think that the Big Ten and Notre Dame has an unfair advantage in the college football playoff and an unfair advantage in the rankings. My factual evidence shows you things that happen with them and how they move or don't move, even when they lose, even when things go wrong, even when they're not even playing a game like during COVID, that they're put in the top 25, some in the top 10, and some were moving up spots when they weren't even playing. So I back it up with factual information. I don't just make a statement and go, oh, well, this is what I think. Why? Because I said so. That's not how life works. That's how some people talk, but that's not how life works. So, as the media, our job is to give you the facts, give you the information, let you form an opinion. That is not always what happens in the media. Sometimes the media wants you to believe something, wants you to think something, wants you to go somewhere with what they want you to do, what they hope you will do, what they intend for you to do. And they feed you information that may not always be true. Now, it's sad that I have to say this, but it does happen. It's sad that it has to come about, but it does happen. This world is unfortunately filled with some people that have an agenda. Some people don't. Some people are just out here trying to help people, trying to do good in this world, but some people have an agenda. And the media has very much let me down in recent history. They've disappointed me. They've disappointed me because, I tell people all the time, like, I believe in God. This is what I care about. This is what matters to me. But I say repeatedly on the show, you don't have to believe this. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to, go and do your research. I can tell you that I think this about the Syracuse football team, but you might think something different. So go do your research, I've never told you you have to believe me. And I've accepted people of different races, ethnicities, national origin, background of any kind, people that make this money, make that money, people that have this belief, that belief, people who have no belief. I have always been open to have a conversation with anyone as long as you respect me and respect what I believe in and what I care about. But the world isn't necessarily like that, right? Everybody wants to be respected, but not everybody respects. Don't you think that's interesting? Everybody wants to be respected, but not everyone respects. I haven't met somebody yet that didn't want you to respect them for what they believe in. But I've met people that'll tell you who you are and call you names and say things to you, disrespect you, put you down because you're different. Names, when they said that you can't call them names. They'll accuse you of things when you can't accuse them of anything. They'll question your beliefs when you can't question theirs. Some of those people are in your own family. Some of those people are in your own house. Some people, those are your friends. Those are your bosses. Those are your peers, your classmates. Don't let peer pressure push you into something that you don't believe in. And my annoying moment of the week is the fact that I can't even turn on certain media outlets because of what they think, because of how polarized they are. And the thing that really hurts me is that here I am, 39 years old. I've been doing this for 21 years, and I own my own business, and I'm on my own show, and I'm sitting here in my head going, can I say that? Because some people don't like that person. And that's ridiculous, okay? I'm going to say something about Donald Trump. I'm going to say something. You might like him, you may not like him, but I'm going to say something. He had two that we know of want to be assassins. And the media never stopped the rhetoric. His political opponents never stopped the rhetoric. You got two people trying to kill him, and you continue to call him Hitler, continue to call him a dictator, continue to call him a threat to democracy. And you don't think that has any part of these deranged people trying to kill him? No one shot at Kamala. No one shot at Joe. No one shot at Barack. No one shot at Bill. To my knowledge, nobody shot at George Bush, senior or junior. Ronald Reagan was shot twice. And we're still making jokes about it. A balloon popped at one of his rallies when he was speaking, one of the events he was at. A balloon popped. He paused and he said, "Missed me." So, how do we get into in America where people hate somebody so much? Number one, why do you even hate him? Because 99.9% of you don't even know him. You just know what the media tells. Do you realize that you'll hate people that you don't know? Most of the time, hate comes from ignorance because you don't know these people. 99.9% of people that hate Donald Trump, they don't even know him. They don't even know him. You know him based on what other people told you about him. What if it wasn't true? What if you've spent the last 8 years hating a guy who's actually not what they say he is? And let me just ask you a question for those that don't like Donald, don't like Kamala, don't like whoever. Because of the media, let me ask you a question. Would you want someone to hate you based on preconceived notions? Would you want someone to hate you based on something that somebody else said about you without learning about you themselves? Would you want somebody to hate you that has never talked to you, seen you, been around you, spent 2 minutes in your presence? No. But we do that with celebrities. We do that with politicians. We hate people based on what other people say. Number one, you shouldn't hate anybody. My grandmother told me a long time ago, hate is too strong of a word. She said, Daniel, don't ever hate anything. Hate's too strong. It's too deep. Gets in you. It's not good. She said, if you want to do anything, you can severely dislike something, but never hate it because you can't come back from hate. And I know the power of the media. In some cases, I don't even think I know how powerful, but I have seen the power of the media. And all I'm saying is, and this should not be polarizing. Take party out of it. Take all this stuff out of it. The media used to love Donald Trump. The media used to have fun with Donald Trump, laugh with Donald Trump, joke around with Donald Trump, be friends with Donald Trump. But then he ran for president, and everybody that loved him hated him. Ain't that something? Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Some people did in the media. We think that certain people are great people, but how do we know? We thought Diddy was good. How many of you danced to a Diddy song? We thought Diddy was good. Remember when Chris Brown, his music came out, he was really good, and then there's that thought that he was beating women? And then people were like, oh man, Chris Brown's trash. And then 2 years later, everybody was dancing to his music again? How everybody forgot so quickly, this man could have been doing this, or the fact that him and Rihanna allegedly used to get in fights, but I didn't really hear anybody get mad at Rihanna about it for the most part. That if they're both swinging, they're both wrong, right? But I've never really heard anybody go, I hate Rihanna. But women abuse men. That happens. Okay? It's not just men abusing women. It happens both ways. Men don't usually report it because as a man, you're told in society that you can't be abused. You're too strong to be abused. So, which is unfair because there are men that are abused and they don't talk about it. And they should, so that they can be healthy. Our society, be it Trump, be it Kamala, be it Nicole Scherzinger, be it whoever, we're taught to hate based on knowledge that someone else is giving us, and most of us never fact check it. We never even look to see if it's true. Never. We never even look to see if it's true. And how crazy is that? We don't even fact check. We just go, oh, okay, you hate him, I hate him too. You know, you're speaking my language. I listen to what people say. I watch what people do. And it doesn't make me hate you. It makes me make my decisions. I watch what people say. I listen to what people say, and I watch what people do. That's what makes me make my decisions. I shouldn't even say makes me make my decisions. It helps me make my decisions. So my annoying moment of the week, you got people crying on air. You got people that host shows like I do crying on air. Over what? Did the world stop? After Trump won, the day seemed normal to me. Wednesday, Thursday, this morning, life carries on. People go on vacation. People go to work. People have dinner. People have breakfast. People have lunch. People take care of their dogs and their cats. So, I mean, the world didn't end, did it? And I miss being a kid when somebody would run for an election and they would win and you didn't want them to win, and then you just carried on with your life. You just kept going. Do you ever ask yourself why you're so mad? Why you're so upset? Why you're so frustrated? Because a lot of the things that ran in campaign ads, you guys forget this, they're not true. People twist people's words around and say there was some things that were ran in ads that were so untrue that you could literally look it up. And people are like, I can't believe that they said that. I'm not voting for them because they said that. And they didn't even say it. So, I mean, there's some crazy, crazy things. You got a candidate that's in office saying they're going to change everything and do the opposite of what they've been doing. And people didn't question that. And then you got somebody who was in office and people claiming, well, if they get in office, this is what they're going to do. But they could have done that last time they were in office and they didn't do it. So why didn't anybody question that when the media said they're going to do this, but they didn't? They could have done it before. See, it's not about who these people really are. It's about who you think they are. And it's not about who they really are. And it brings a bigger question to me. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? Why are we so easily manipulated by the media? Why are we so easily told what to do by the media? I've never told you what to do. I've never used this show as a platform to make you do something. I've never told you, have to love each other or we're going to kill you. You know what I mean? It's like, you should be nice to people. You should be kind to people. I think that makes the world better, but I mean, there's some people in the media, they talk like they're holding a gun to your head. If you don't do this, and what about this? If you don't go with us, you're against us. And then they attacked a candidate years ago for saying the same thing. If you're not with us, you're against us. We are your friend. We support you. We love you. But the moment that you disagree with us, we will bury you. I've seen people go after celebrities on social media that voted differently than them. Attacking people that voted differently than them. There's celebrities that are deleting their social media accounts after they personally attack people. Or I shouldn't say personally attack people. After they write a long message about all these things that they're mad about, and they're like passive aggressively yelling at people, and then they're going to delete their account, but not before I tell you all that I'm mad at you. Like, I mean, I'm losing respect for a lot of people very quickly. I respect you as a child of God. I don't respect your decision making and the way you talk to people. But here's the thing. You know, there's elections that I voted for someone and they lost, and there's elections I voted for somebody and they won. In no situation did I decide, okay, my candidate lost, I'm going to be a jerk. Oh, my candidate won, I'm going to be a jerk. There's nothing about that to me. Now, do I think people should be crying and mourning and taking days off of school? No. We already have a weak part of our society. We have trained people to be weak in our society because weak people are controlled. See, if you look at the big picture of life, you can see that the way the government is and the way that the media is, not everybody, but the way that some media and some of the government is, they are creating a weak generation of children because a weak generation of children is easily manipulated. And that weak generation will raise more weak children because they'll teach them the same things. And before you know it, you'll have an entire country of people that are easily controlled and manipulated. This is something that I'm warning you about. It's not something that I'm telling you as a movie. It's real life. I'm here to talk to you about it because I see it, and I don't just care about myself. And I don't just care about people that vote my way. And I don't just care about people that think the way I do. I care about everybody. If I win and you lose, I shake your hand. Go and watch any basketball game that I was ever a part of. Okay? If I walk off the court and it's F you from the other team, hey, that's their decision. But it's not my decision to not shake your hand, to not care. Lose gracefully, win gracefully. Don't make, what did LL Cool J say? Don't let your wins go to your head, your losses go to your heart. Right? So don't get a big head and get an ego, and then don't get depressed. Don't get down. Okay? more than half of this country voted for the person who won. They won the popular vote, they won the Senate, they're winning the House right now, and they won the presidency in the Electoral College. And there's people that are crying right now. Crying and weeping. And mourning. And being told to take a day off of school. And mental health. And blah. What are we doing? When somebody's family member dies, that's a day of mourning. When somebody's animal passes away, that's a day of mourning. When there's a war going on, when people are being attacked, we can mourn. But we don't mourn when somebody loses an election. We don't mourn, okay? Nobody died. The world ain't over. So, I'm sorry, but I think what this country needs is tough love. Do I agree with everything on one side? No. Do I agree with everything on the other side? No. I think the best candidate would be somebody who can work with everybody. But here's the thing. In the last 4 years, this country got worse after we got a promise it was going to get better. So let's see what happens now. Let's see if it gets better. But see, for you to think that the President of the United States single-handedly is going to change this country is ridiculous. We're all going to sit on our hands and wait for him to do something? That's ridiculous. We need to work together. And stop with the racism. And stop with the sexism. Okay? Stop. Just stop. Because the thing is, there's actual sexism and racism and prejudice. And if we say everything is racist and everything is sexist and everything is prejudice, then nothing is. Then we become numb to it. We can't call every action and word racist. We can't call every action and word sexist. We can't call every action and word prejudice, because then people get inundated with it and then nothing is. I have heard real racism. I've ended friendships on racism. I have literally ended friendships on somebody saying the N-word in front of me. They said it once. I was shocked. Then they said it again, and I'm sitting here going, why are you saying that? The third time that I heard the word, I was like, you know what? You attacked one of my friends, I'm out. You attacked one of my friends, I'm out. I didn't like hearing it before when you were just saying it about a stranger in the world. But now, like, I've heard it too much. You're not going to stop. I don't want to be around it. I can still go back to the day that somebody used a term that is essentially the equivalent of the N-word to an Italian person. And they used it in front of me, and it wasn't toward me. It was toward somebody else. It was toward a woman that worked with me. And I wouldn't leave the room until it stopped. Two women talking to each other. I don't know what provoked this woman to do it, but she kept calling her this word. And it's a word that I've never heard used in society in a derogatory way, thank God. And it was at my place of work. And it was here in Syracuse, in my hometown, 5 minutes from where I grew up. Then I'm, for the first time ever, hearing the Italian N-word being used at somebody in a derogatory, negative, and very mean way. I almost broke a door handle off the door. I was holding on to the door, trying to keep my cool, and I almost broke the door handle. There is actual prejudice and sexism and racism in this world. We need to stop calling everything that. Every time we don't get what we want, oh, it's racist. I remember this one kid, we were working for the same place, and he got fired, and he kind of alluded to the fact that he thought he got fired because of racism, but it was also because they thought he was stealing. They said they allegedly caught him on camera, and he's like, they say that I'm doing drugs. And he proceeded to do drugs after he said, this might be why they're firing me, but, you know, like, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Then he proceeded to do drugs. So you allude to maybe it's racism, maybe they just don't like me, and then you do the exact thing that you said allegedly is why you got fired. I don't feel bad for you after that. Okay? Maybe I believe you if you're not doing any of the other stuff, but your way of showing this company that's firing you that you're not doing drugs is to just do a massive amount of drugs with all your friends all night long. That'll show them. We need to stop calling everything racism and sexism and prejudice. Because if we keep doing that, then nobody's going to know what is. Remember the boy who cried wolf and cried wolf and cried wolf and cried wolf? Then the wolf showed up. Who came? Nobody. Why? Because they said it too much. Everybody was like, man, this person cries wolf all the time. There's no way that there's going to be a wolf there. Good morning to Alan and Jermaine and everybody. But you can't keep crying wolf, or else nobody's going to show up. And nobody's going to be there for you. That's reality. That's reality. And the media, unfortunately, my peers in the media have distorted reality. Not all of them. Not all of them. There are good people in the media. But there are people that have distorted reality. And we need to call them out. We need to call them out. You don't need to hate them. You don't need to swear at them and yell at them. You don't need to verbally or physically attack them or abuse them. You just need to see it, understand it, know it. Okay? This country is not going to die because somebody got voted. And this country doesn't reside on one person. Trump is the new president. Congress has to work with him, and he has to work with Congress. Your local and state governments, they got to make decisions too. And they got to work together. But you know what I love? I love the fact that people that were going light on crime, and we were not understanding, like, how are we passing laws in states that are, like, essentially not punishing criminals, not allowing, not sending criminals to jail for committing crimes. And you know what California said? This is insane. And they voted against it. See, there's more of us than there are of politicians. If we don't like something, we can change it. Peacefully and productively, we can change it. You can be lied to, but your bank account's your bank account. If your groceries are more expensive, if your gas is more expensive, if you feel less safe, if you see things with your own eyes and hear things with your own ears, it doesn't matter what the media tells you. The truth is the truth. And my moral compass is God. That's my center. So I'm going to listen to God. And if there's a candidate that attacks God in any way, shape, or form, you do not have my vote. You do not have my vote. And if somebody wants to fight with me about that, if you disrespect God, I will pray for you. You do not have my vote. You cannot have my vote. And again, I have voted in many elections, and sometimes I voted for the candidate who won, and sometimes I voted for the candidate who lost. It's pretty much back and forth. I feel like I've experienced both pretty equally. And life goes on. I'm still a business owner. I'm still a broadcaster. I'm still chasing my dreams. I got the same family. I got the same friends. I got my nieces. I got my nephews. I got my friends that are like brothers and sisters. I got Lily. My hometown's still my hometown. I still get to travel. So my annoying moment of the week is that the media has to stop their nonsense. The media has to stop giving fuel to the fire of this hatred that's out here. And the media has to stop lying to people. Now, the media doesn't like this. And the media, even though I'm a media person, I don't think the majority of the media likes me. I don't. Because I'm a change to the establishment. I believe in God. I've been around the media long enough that some media believes in God and some don't. Some are too afraid to say anything. But in the world that we live in today, I've sat in rooms with people that treat me like Casper the Ghost. I'm not even there to them. They steal my stories, but they don't regard me as a human being. And like I said before, I guess you wouldn't talk to the person whose house you just broke into and stole something. But the reality is, I'm not here for the media to like me. And if telling the truth, if being honest, if working my butt off, if believing in God, having morals and values, and feeling that I have a privilege, not a right, to do what I do, and that every single time I need to be honest, and I need to be real, and I need to be truthful, whether I like it or not, I have to present the facts. If that's what makes you hate me, then hate me every day. But I am so sick and tired of this country being divided, and I am so sick and tired of this country hating each other. They have said it for years. You don't have to destroy America with weapons. You don't have to destroy America from the outside. Give it ideas, give it dissension, divide up its people, and kill it from within. And that's exactly what's been happening. There have been ideas and there has been a movement in the shadows perpetuating you to hate your neighbor. Somebody puts a different sign up on their lawn than you hate them. You don't even know this person. You don't even know anything about them. They could be the nicest person in the world. They could be the most caring, giving, honest, true, good person in the world. You hate them because they got a different sign. The media helped create that. You understand that? So my annoying moment of the week is it's time to wake up, America. There's a reason why I call this wake up call, and it's not just because it's a morning show. It is time to wake up. And you know what the coolest thing in the world is? Watching the coverage of the election, I heard at least 2 people say this is a wake up call for America. And I was like, cool, shameless plug. But it is a wake up call. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to work together. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't care if you're independent. I care about the content of your character. Remember when Martin Luther King Jr. said, it is not about the color of your skin. It's not about anything else. It's about the content of your character. It's about who you choose to be. It's about who you are. What you say, what you do. You. I'm going to say this one more time. Many of you have made decisions on candidates based on what people told you about a total stranger. Would you want somebody to hate you based on what someone else told them when that person doesn't even take the time to get to know you? Would any of us on this planet or off this planet want to be hated by people that don't even know you, have never spoken to you, but simply made a decision based on what somebody else said, fabricated or not? Would you want someone to hate you based on misinformation that's been given to them by someone that they follow blindly? No. So stop doing that with candidates, with celebrities, with all of this stuff. Shame on everyone who is verbally, physically, or in any way, shape, or form attacked someone, abused someone, or fabricated lies about somebody. Shame on you. Shame on you for trying to make somebody hate somebody. Shame on you. Because that's wrong. And it's disgusting and it's distasteful. Nobody on this planet wants to be hated, let alone hated by people that don't even know you. But we do that all the time. And this election was quiet for a while. And when it got loud, it bothered me. It bothered my stomach. It bothered my chest. It bothered my head. I was stressed out over an election that I wasn't running in. Stop hating people. And make up your own mind and do your own research. And stop hating people in general. And don't be and stop being mean to people. You don't even know these people. What if you loved a candidate and you found out behind the scenes that they were awful to their kids? That they spoke to their husband or their wife with such disrespect? And even then, I wouldn't hate them. I just wouldn't be around them. You don't have to be around it. You don't have to hate it either. I don't want a polarized America. I want a unified America. I want the America my grandparents fought for. I want the America my great-grandparents came to. That's what I want. Opportunity, love, God, faith, family, community, honesty. The media was supposed to keep the government in check, not work for it. So it's going to take a long time, but a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. And on this show, what I believe in and what I care about matters to me, but I have never told you that what you care about doesn't matter. And I've never told you you don't matter. And if you didn't vote the way I voted, or you don't think the way I think, or you don't believe what I believe, I don't hate you. It's time the rest of the media followed suit. I'm not saying that I'm right about everything, because I'm not. I'm saying followed suit in the sense of we need to stop pushing people to divide. Okay? I don't see black and white. I see people. I don't see man and woman. I see people. I don't see adult and child. I see people. I don't see religion. I see people. I don't see politics. I see people. If you're not a good person, we're not going to hang out. If you are, let's hang out. Does it mean I hate you? No. Does it mean I think God should hate you? No. Does it mean that I think God shouldn't let you into heaven? No. It means that just because I can accept that people are mean and evil and crass and abusive in this world, it doesn't mean I got to sleep next to you, and it doesn't mean I got to eat with you. I don't surround myself with bad energy, but I pray for all energy. I pray for the good to stay good and the bad to turn good. But I don't hate anybody. So to those of you that have the power in the tongue, what do they say? I'm going to paraphrase it, but life and death in the power of the tongue. Whatever you speak is what you get. So we can speak good or we can speak evil. Let me ask you a question. What has speaking evil done for us? In the famous words of my grandmother, I said, Grandma, why are you so positive? She said, what's the alternative? So be positive. Okay? Don't mourn over an election, my goodness. Get up, put your pants on. I've had elections where I wanted someone who lost. I've had elections where I wanted someone who won. Get up, put your pants on, and go to work like I do, and smile like I do, and let's go do this thing together. Life's going to be okay. And when it's not, let's be there for each other. And let's stop listening to people that are trying to divide us. The media has done a very successful job at dividing people into smaller and smaller and smaller groups. Groups within groups. I will never do that to you. I will never dishonor God. And I will not disrespect humanity. Let's work together. Let's love each other. And let's stop making this country a daily annoying moment. And let's start accepting our differences and seeking to learn from each other, even those that don't necessarily agree with us. Let's try and learn something from each other. It's never going to hurt you to learn. It's never going to hurt you to evolve. It's never going to hurt you to ad-lib. And it's never going to hurt you to deliver. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Going from the annoying moment of the week right into lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Today's topic, faith is a good thing. You realize that faith is not always treated as a good thing, especially in this country right now. Right? You got a faith? Shut up about this. I don't want to hear about this. I don't want to hear about God. I don't want to hear about angels. I don't want to hear about saints. I don't want to hear about any of that. Why? What has faith ever done to you? Now, there are people that leave their faith. There are people that leave it because they don't get what they want. There are. Some people stop believing in God because someone dies in their family, somebody gets sick in their family, they ask for something from God and God didn't give it to them. Life is hard, and I'm going to be the first to tell you, I can't make sense of it all. I can't. Why did my grandfathers die when I was 6 years old? I asked God that question many times. I don't ask him that question anymore. Why, Dan? Because I trust them. You trust someone that killed someone? God didn't kill my family. They passed away. He didn't kill them. They died. God didn't kill his only son. His son made a decision. His son made a choice. So to me, faith has been attacked in this country. There's a belief that if you're on one side of the political realm, you don't believe in God, and if you're on the other side, you do believe in God, and that's not true. No side should be choosing God when the other, what should I say? No side should be strictly God and the other side is no God. Because if the other side is no God, I am never going to be on that side. Because I choose God every time. It doesn't matter what it's about. I choose God every time. God's my compass. God's my rock. God's my everything. I don't put my faith in government. I don't put my faith in politics. I put my faith in God. You can be a different religion than me. Doesn't mean I'm better than you. Doesn't mean you're better than me. Faith is not religion. Religion might help you get there. Religion might teach you about it. But remember, Jesus was Jewish, right? But what religion came from Jesus? Catholicism, Christianity, right? So Jesus was not a religion. Jesus is a relationship. People had relationships with Jesus. Jesus didn't walk up to someone and go, "Are you Jewish?" "Yeah, well, then we can be friends." Walk up to a Gentile, anybody who's not Jewish, "Are you a Gentile?" Wait until I die. Let's see what God thinks. Jesus didn't do that. As far as I know, as far as I understand, Jesus didn't walk up to someone. Jesus couldn't ask somebody if they were Catholic. There was no Catholicism back then. So I've grown up Catholic, been in the Catholic Church, learned from the Catholic Church. It helped my faith. It helped me to realize things. It helped me to have structure. But my relationship with God is my relationship with God. I go to church on Sundays, but that's not why I have a relationship with God. It aids my relationship with God, but it doesn't keep or sustain my relationship with God. My relationship with God is sustained on our bond, on our relationship, on our personal connection. God is my best friend. I pray all day. I pray all day long. I pray before every single meal. If I don't pray before a meal, I feel guilty, like I shouldn't eat it, like I did something wrong. I pray all day long. All day long. I pray in the shower. I pray in the car. I pray when I'm walking. I pray when I'm talking. I pray when I'm listening to music. I pray when I'm sitting in silence. I pray when I'm in bed. I pray when I get out of bed. I pray when I get into bed. My relationship with God is my relationship with God. Faith is a good thing. Don't let the media tell you it's a bad thing, or that you're an extremist and that you're crazy. A life without faith looks insane. It does. It does. And people that don't have faith are always looking for something to have faith in. Do you realize how ironic it is? The people that don't believe in God are always looking for something to worship. People that don't believe in God are looking for somewhere to put that energy into, right? I don't believe in God, but I believe in nature. I believe in crystals. I believe in, astrology. Now, not to say that somebody that believes in one doesn't believe in other things, but there's this desire for people, like when they don't have God, they're trying to make somebody God. They're trying to find a God. They're trying to fabricate a God. Because they need something to believe in. And yet this same country is telling you in certain places, God doesn't exist. There is no faith. Don't have a faith. Don't pray. That looks bad. You don't want to talk about God. You know, there's some people that believe, they watch the show and they go, Dan, you talk about God, you're going to lose followers. You're going to lose listeners. I don't care. If me believing in God and trying to be a good person and trying to be honest and true and carry all the morals and values and ideals and the commandments of God, if trying to do good by people with a central compass of someone better than me makes you hate me, then I would question everything you believe in, because you're hating what is good. Believing in God prevents me from wanting to sin, prevents me from wanting to hurt people. So if you go, well, Dan believes in God and Dan talks about God, so I don't want to support Dan and I don't want to listen to Dan and I don't want to watch Dan, you're saying to me, you're doing something positive and fruitful and good that affects the way that you treat people and makes you want to be positive toward everybody. I don't like that you're doing good things, and I don't like why you're doing good things or where the good things are coming from. If I didn't tell anybody I believed in God and I gave to the poor and I helped the sick, people that don't believe in God would be like, wow, you're a really nice person. And then if I said, yeah, I do it with God, oh, well, now I don't want your food. Now I don't want you to help the sick. Really? You would turn my food away because I believe it? You know, it's just stupid. But in the world we live in today, there are people that are scared to talk about God. There's some people that are not scared at all to talk about God, and I love that. But there are people that are scared to talk about God, scared to believe in God, scared to say anything about God because they don't want you to hate them. They don't want you to stop following them on social media. They don't want you to unsubscribe from their YouTube channel. There are people that believe in God, but they'll never tell you because they're afraid to, because they were taught that faith is not a good thing. Faith is a great thing. And I'm here to tell you this morning, my faith in God kept me alive. My faith in God has kept me focused. My faith in God has helped me to not go back to bad habits. My faith in God has kept me mentally strong, emotionally strong, economically strong, physically strong. My faith in God saved my life time and time and time again. If I put all my faith in people, I'm going to be let down at some point. If I put all my faith in the government, I'm going to be let down at some point. If I put all my faith in politics, I'm going to be let down at some point. If I put all my faith in simply my priest, I'm going to be let down at some point. But I'll tell you this, putting my faith in God has never let me down. Do I get everything I want? No. Do I sometimes get things I want having to wait longer than I wanted to wait? Yes. But my faith in God has never let me down. My faith in God has never destroyed my spirit. My faith in God has not... I mean, honestly, when I see this world go crazy, I keep my faith in God. Or else I might have lost faith in the world already. This world has given me plenty of reasons to lose faith in it. To lose faith. It's easy to lose faith in people. People let you down all the time. People let you down all the time. It is absolutely easy to lose faith in humanity. But I choose not to because I believe in God. And God does not make mistakes, and God did not create us as one big giant goof, one big giant mistake. When people hurt people, we blame God. We don't blame people. You know, in the Bible, repeatedly, God tells people to do things, and they don't do it. And he doesn't punish them. 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 And then he comes to a point where he goes, you know what? I got to punish them. Because God, like any parent, is like, you know what? I don't want to punish my kids. I don't want to reprimand my kids. I don't want to do anything negative to my kids. But my kids won't listen, so I have to. God was not an evil God in the Old Testament. Humanity forced his hand. They didn't listen so many times that he had to put his foot down. Because even the kindest, gentlest, most patient of parents is going to get to a point where they have to do something. They have to ground their children because their children are running amok. And if you've ever seen an adult who has like no care for humanity and thinks the world's owed to them and doesn't, like they just do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and they think there's no repercussions, that could be a kid that was not raised by their parent. Like I physically have seen a grown adult in their 30s whose parents were afraid of them, who didn't raise them to have personal responsibility to say that they're sorry about things. You got parents that are afraid of this child, that handle this child with kid gloves and treat this child differently. And what does that child grow up and do? They grow up to disrespect and abuse people. They grow up to treat good people poorly and bad people nicely. And they don't understand why the world doesn't revolve around them. And every time they don't get what they want, somebody did something wrong. They've never done anything wrong ever. I have seen what it's like to meet a person whose parents refuse to give them tough love, refuse to put their foot down, refuse to actually reprimand that child. And now that child thinks that they're right all the time, and they treat society like society owes them something. Faith is not a bad thing. Tough love is not a bad thing. I'm not talking about hate. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about verbally attacking people or physically attacking someone. When I say tough love, it's when my dad told me that I wasn't allowed to quit. It's when my mom told me you need to get a grip. You need to get a hold of yourself. There have been times in my life where my parents have spoken to me in a way that I didn't like, but it was what I needed. It's not easy to hear where you're wrong, but if you really are in tune with yourself, you don't need to hear when you're wrong. You know where you're wrong. But when you hear it, it's like, okay, yeah, I agree. If you're in tune with yourself and you're honest with yourself, you don't need people to tell you when you're wrong. You don't need people to tell you when you're wrong. You know when you're wrong. You just go to those people because you know that you're wrong, and you kind of are facing yourself, and you need to hear it. I don't shy away from people telling me when I'm wrong if I know that I'm wrong. But when I'm not wrong, I don't sit there and go, okay, you know what? I am. You know, this world's going to tell you that you're this. They're going to tell you that you're that. But I'm going to tell you here right now, today, in this moment, that your faith is a good thing. Your belief in God is a good thing. Your want to help others is a good thing. Your morals and your values are a good thing. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not doing anything wrong. So to the kids out there, especially, to the kids out there in school, where the schools aren't teaching about God anymore and the schools aren't teaching about faith anymore and everybody's offended by everything and you can't celebrate Christmas anymore, celebrate Christmas. Celebrate life. Say God bless you. Say a prayer. Do the sign of the cross in front of people. Do the sign of the cross when nobody else is doing it. Do the Pledge of Allegiance when other people don't stand up. Say the word God around other people. Because believe it or not, it's not that people don't believe in God. It's that they want to see somebody else do it because they're afraid to. And if you show that you believe in God, you can help them stand up for themselves. So do not stop with your faith. Do not stop with believing in God. Do not stop with having that love. There's nothing wrong with you believing in God. There's something wrong with you trying to shove something down somebody's throat. But there's nothing wrong with you believing in God. And you need to hear that. And adults need to hear that in work when your boss tells you that you can't celebrate this holiday, but you can celebrate this made-up holiday that they just put on the calendar 2 years ago. You can celebrate it. You can celebrate Hanukkah. You can wish people a happy Hanukkah, and they shouldn't get offended. You can wish people a Merry Christmas, not a Happy Holidays. What's a Happy Holidays? Well, we just want to include all the holidays. Okay, so wish them a Happy Kwanzaa, wish them a Happy Hanukkah, and wish them a Merry Christmas. You can't say those 3 things? You don't have time to say those 6 words? Okay, I'm offended when you don't say Merry Christmas to me. I am offended when you don't say Merry Christmas to me because you're too afraid to say Merry Christmas to me. You can say Merry Christmas to me. Most businesses you go into around Christmas time will not say Merry Christmas unless you say it to them. And if you say it to them, this is the cool thing about faith, is what I just told you. People are not absent of faith. They're afraid to show that they have it. It's not that they don't have it. They're afraid to show that they have it. Case in point, most places I go into, they won't say Merry Christmas. But if I say Merry Christmas to them, guess what they say back? 9 times out of 10, Merry Christmas. They don't say it preemptively, but you say it to them, they say it back. Merry Christmas. I'm going to tell you this right now. You might be afraid to share your faith, but sharing your faith might save somebody's life. Sharing your faith might bring somebody to God. Sharing your faith might be the one person that shows that person that it's okay to be who they are. And in a world and in a country that desperately wants to be appreciated and respected for who they are, how dare a country say, you need to love me for who I am, but I don't have to love you for who you are? That's hypocrisy at the basis of its definition. God has been attacked in America, and I'm not for it. God has been attacked around the world, and I'm not for it. I believe in God. I proudly believe in God. I don't push that on you. I don't shove it down your throat, and I don't tell you that you have to believe. All I'm saying today is, to those of you that believe, don't be afraid to share it, because somebody might really need to hear it today and might really need to know that it's okay. You never know who's watching and listening, and you never know a life that you might save by simply being who you are. So don't shy away from God. Don't shy away from the beautiful spirit he put in you, and don't lie to yourself anymore. If you believe in God, share it. Pray. Don't be afraid to love God. We've been taught that if we love God publicly, we're crazy people. We're bell ringers. No, we just believe. When I do the sign of the cross in the restaurant and I pray over my meal, I'm not shouting it. I'm not yelling it. I'm not going to each table going, pray, pray. Why aren't you praying? You got to pray, pray. No. But if you look over at me and I do the sign of the cross and I pray and you're offended, there is something wrong with you. Because I'm not asking you to do it. I'm not forcing you to do it. I'm not pushing you to do it. But you want me to accept who you are, but you're not accepting me for who I am. And I am the type of person that if you ask me to do something that you're unwilling to do, I'm going to call you out. Love each other. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. And stop telling people that faith in God is a bad thing that they should run away from. It's not a bad thing. Faith is a good thing. And the people that I've met that have a strong and beautiful faith, that believe in God and the goodness of everything that comes with that, I see those people love people. I see those people change lives all the time. I'm not talking about extremism. I'm talking about people that it's just so crazy to me, because you can't spell good without God. So how can you tell me faith is a bad thing? This country was built on faith. We had to have faith that we could find land and create something. We had to have faith when we were owned by another country. We had to have faith when we stood up for ourselves. Abraham Lincoln had to have faith when he thought he was doing the right thing. We have had to have faith. My grandfathers had to have faith. My grandmothers had to have faith. My family had to have faith during those world wars. That people would come home, that they were doing the right thing. Without faith, we have no compass. And we wonder why the world is so messed up. Without faith, we have no compass. And I don't know a God that says, Daniel, you got to be this religion, you got to be this faction, you got to be this color, you got to make this money, you got to be that gender, you got to... No. The only God that I know says, I want all my kids at my table. I don't want any seat open. So that's how I treat people. You all get to sit at my table. If you decide to leave, you all get to sit at my table. How you treat people and how you act determines where we go from here. But I'm going to invite you all to the table. The only people I don't talk to are the people that have disrespected me or disrespected somebody else. And it's not that you don't get second chances. I've watched these people repeatedly do it. So I keep my distance. It's not that I don't pray for you. It's not that I don't show you love. It's not that I don't hope the best for you. It's that I don't want to be around people that command the devil toward them more than they do God. And I don't want the devil to be near those people. I don't want the devil to be near anybody. The devil shouldn't be anywhere. When I see hate in your heart, I will pray for you. But I don't have to sit there and be abused by you. And that's what people throw it in your face. What would Jesus do, Dan? Jesus ate with sinners, Dan. What would Jesus... Whenever someone hurt me, I shouldn't say whenever, but there's certain people in my life that would hurt me. And when they hurt me, instead of apologizing, they're like, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do, Dan? Jesus would love and accept me, Dan. Jesus would put up with me, Dan. And people threw it in my face. They said, what would Jesus do? When they hurt me, they used Jesus as a chess piece, trying to checkmate me. That's not how I use God. If you're around me, I will do everything in my power to show you God, to be with you, to pray with you, to help you, to support you. But just because you're a human being and you came from the same family that I came from, regardless of color, race, creed, and all that good stuff, if you're a hateful, angry person, I don't have to be around that. None of us do. So stop using Jesus as a pawn. Start using Jesus as maybe a way to fix what's going on in your life. The people that I don't talk to, that I used to talk to, the people I don't put around me, that used to be around me, they made those choices. I didn't make those choices. If it was up to me, I'd be friends with everybody. Not because I need it, not because I have an ego, but I want my family to be bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm Italian and Spanish. We can't have a big enough family. So to me, I want you at my table. To me, I want you to be a good person, and I want to hang out with you all day long. But my Aunt Mary taught me something a long time ago. She said, honey, whether your mom gives it to you, your sister gives it to you, your girlfriend gives it to you, or a stranger gives it to you, poison will still kill you. So stop going up to people that love Jesus and love God and telling us that we have to put up with you because that's what Jesus would do. I don't think Jesus ever said in the Bible he was going to put up with you. I think Jesus said in the Bible, if you do these good things, you can come home. But if you don't, that's on you. He didn't say he doesn't want you in his house. He said you get to decide. He didn't say he didn't want you at his table. He said you get to decide. So why are you mad at me when I speak the same way that he would? I want you at my table. But you're going to decide where you end up. So I pray that everybody that has come across me and done me dirty and treated me poorly, I hope you don't do that to other people. And whenever I've made mistakes, I hope people know, like, that's not what I'm trying to be. None of us are perfect. And I want God to be with every single person. But I will not be around bad behavior. And I will not support it. Because we deserve better. With that being said, I got a guest on here. I haven't taken a commercial break this entire show because we've been talking about things that are important. So it's time for me to do the top dog of the week, and it absolutely connects to the person that's waited patiently. My top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, is not only the great, wonderful, faithful, kind, and always there for you friend, including at 11 o'clock at night when he has someone, me, call him up and say the same things that I said the day before and said, Joe, I don't get it. Joe, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And Joe sits on the phone with me when he's got to watch film and he's got to talk to these kids and make sure they're going to class and he's got to be there with his wife and he's got to hang out with the family. And he spends an hour having the same conversation with me he had a day before because he knows I'm hurting and he knows I'm confused. Friends are not the people that show up when life is comfortable. Friends are the people that show up when they know you're not being yourself, when they know something's wrong with you, when they sense you. You ever wonder, like, oh my gosh, this person texted me at like the best time. You ever text somebody right when they're texting you? You ever have somebody text you or call you when something's wrong? What did they say? The people that are your people are the people that can hear you when you're silent. Joe Adams is one of those people. And I didn't know Joe's mom. But I know she's in heaven. And how do I know that? Because she raised him. And how do I know that? Because the morals and the values and the ideals and the things that he had, I'm not saying he doesn't gain things over time from other people. But when you know, Joe is one of those people, and I'm going to say this, when you know Joe, you know his mom. When you know Joe, you know the people that he cares about. When you know Joe, you know what he surrounds himself with. So my top dog of the week is Joe, and it's Mom. Because Joe has always been there, and from everything that I've gathered from him, his mom was always there for him. And if you have a mother and or a father, a guardian, a grandparent, grandparents that are there for you, that love you, that do everything in their power to make sure that you are ready for this world to punch you in the face a million times. The people that love you never tell you you're not going to get punched in the face. They just teach you how to take it. They teach you how to block it. They teach you how to stand. Rocky didn't teach his son to run. He taught his son that life was going to hit him. And no matter how hard he got hit, he's got to keep moving forward. No matter what he takes, he's got to keep moving forward. And he can't blame anybody else for where he is in his life but himself. And I don't know how to describe it any better way than my faith and my trust in God, that knowing Joe is knowing Mom. And knowing that this beautiful woman is now an angel up in heaven watching over this guy and watching over her family and watching over all of us now. So, Mom, I never met you, and I know you can hear me. Thank you for raising Joe. Thank you for giving me a friend that can be a year, it could be a day, it could be a few months, but I seek to build relationships in my life, and I am very diligent about it, I'm very direct about it, and I'm very clear about it. These coaches could think I'm nuts. They could think I'm like everybody else in the media. They could think this guy's coming up to me and he wants my phone number and he wants to connect with me, but he's going to screw me over someday. Or they can see you for who you are. And Mama, whatever you did with Joe, when I asked to build a connection with him, something inside of his heart, no matter how many times it's been bruised, he gives people chances. He gives people opportunities. He lets people show them who they are. And if you taught him that, I'm grateful. And to Joe Adam, I couldn't be more grateful to have a friend who always seems to know me, understand me, and be there for me. To you, he's a coach. To you, he's a father figure. To you, he's somebody who's a mentor, a teacher. To me, he is a friend. And when I need him, he's there. And when I don't ask for him, he's there. And I never once in my, I know he would be there next week for my 21-year celebration, but he's got a game. I never question if Joe Adams going to show up. So to Mom, thank you for whatever you taught him that got him to be the person that he is today and helped him to be the person he is today. And to Joe, who I'm about to bring on, thank you to Joe Adam for being somebody that I've been able to trust, I've been able to count on, and who has consistently reminded me that though life is not perfect, it is far better worth living, celebrating, enjoying, and surrounding yourself with people that are going to command you not to be yes people, not to just tell you that you're great, but that you're going to surround yourself with people that are going to teach you how to know God, how to love yourself, and how to be good to people. So with that being said, my top dogs of the week, proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, are Joe Adam, as well as Joe Adams' mother. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dan, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Great to see you.
Great to see you, too. So humble. You know, I could talk about you for 47 minutes, and you're just like, hey, hey, thanks. So, but... You know.
I mean, what do you, I mean? I'm listening to the intro. I'm just taken back. So, I appreciate the impact that that I've made and in your life and yours and mine. So, it's a very humbling thing. I always say I'm kind of the vessel that God works through. So, it's not me, it's Him. So, I'm just very blessed to be here, blessed to share this time with you, and excited to talk with you this morning.
Yeah, no, and I agree wholeheartedly, and you've always been very good to me. I don't know what you're doing at the time that I text you ever, but you always text me right back. I mean, I have no idea what's going on in Joe's life. It doesn't matter what time it is. I always get a text message back. And when I said I was doing this 21-year celebration, was like an immediate message back. You know I would be there. I have a game. I was like, can you send a video message? Of course, just let me know. And but that, I mean, that's you. Why are you this way? Like I have blamed your mother for part of this in that top dog of the week. So what did mom instill in you?
I just think, we were kind of a blue collar family growing up. And so, li life wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. I lost my dad when I was one. So my mother, who came over here as an immigrant and, had to work for a lot of things. And she was not a college educated lady. And, so she worked a lot of odd jobs and she found ways to support us, me and my sister, and it was kind of what I knew growing up, and it's kind of shaped me into the person that I am today. And I have a heart for people that work hard, that overcome obstacles, and maybe provide a little confidence for them when they need it the most. And so my mother had to do that for me when I was growing up, and like I said, we didn't have a lot of materialistic things, but we had a lot of love in our family, and that's something that I'll always remember that she provided for us. And so I've tried to continue that mission and the values that I kind of grew up with.
With your dad, and I'm sad that you didn't have the opportunity, obviously, to really get to know him face to face. But with your dad passing away when you were one, what did your mom share with you about your dad?
I mean, she, every once in a while she'd share stories, and I'd see pictures and hear stories from, like, my grandparents and my aunt, and about one about the love story that they had together, which was kind of awesome, and just hearing that piece, and then just having my mother comment on the relationship I have with my wife Lisa, and how it reminded her of the love story that she had with my father. So it was kind of full circle in that sense. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of unique and ironic, I guess, that it's kind of mirrored that way. But you know, everything that she talked to me about my father and the man that he was, she always said that he'd be proud of the person that you've become. So I've just tried to live life in and I think that's a general statement for anybody, right? You make decisions that enhance the family name, and don't make decisions that bring negativity upon it.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that your mom would say, how you treat your wife, how you treat Lisa, like that's me seeing my relationship with your dad. Like I see that parallel, like they see that comparison. My mom, my grandfathers both passed away when I was 6, and I remember them. I think about them all the time, at least once a day. But my mom said something to me about my grandfather I never knew. And I don't think I deserve this credit. I think I've gotten better at it. But she would say to me, she goes, "You are your grandfather's grandson." Like the way you, like the romance and the way you treat, like the way my grandmother would talk to me about my grandfather. It was like the way you treat women, what you want in your life, how you envision a relationship to be, how you believe that love in real life should be better than the movies look at it. It's like that's how I know my grandpa. My mom said to me in a different side of things, she was like, "You are your grandfather's grandson when it comes to getting angry." She said, "It takes you forever. It takes you a long time. But when you're there, you're just done. When somebody pushes you, you're just like, okay, you know what? That's enough." And she said that was your grandfather. Now my great grandfather, my great grandpa Louis, my G mama's my mom's dad, my great grandpa Louis, little guy, never got to meet him, like 5'2". Grandpa Louis, when he would kind of, old Italian man, he would apparently he was like mellow. He just kind of whatever. But if you like kept poking, there's this really I feel like there's an Italian movie that should be in this, Joe, and it is my great grandpa Louis. He told this one guy, he was by the Army Navy store heading toward Erie Boulevard in Syracuse, and he was at this place that was a bar, and it had a big glass window in the front. And he told this guy kept messing with him, touching his hat. And he said, I think the guy's name was Tony. And he goes, Tony, don't touch my hat. And Tony touched his hat again. He goes, Tony, don't touch my hat. And then Tony touched his hat again. He goes, Tony, I told you once, I told you twice. He grabbed Tony, 5'2" of him, and threw Tony through the window onto the sidewalk. So when I drive by there, I'm like, my great grandfather threw a guy onto that sidewalk. But it's, it's just one of those things. And I bring it up because you wouldn't expect, when they talk about my great grandfather, he just he's like this old Italian guy. He didn't talk during dinner and all that stuff. But like, when we have that comparison is what I'm going back to, of like, hearing about how you love your wife and your mom saying to you, like, I see your dad. And I just, it to somebody that, like, obviously she has a high esteem for. And it made me think of my grandfather, who the nicest of the nicest. And they're like, you probably love, I mean, I feel like I love like he does. And my mom was like, on the other side of it, if somebody treats you poorly, it takes you a while. But when you get there, you're just like, okay. So when you get compared to your dad, when your mom would compare you to that, could you feel that? Could you sense that? Because you and I have a strong faith. Was something in your gut kind of tell you like, yeah, you know what? I think she's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that you kind of just sense, and um, since I've been here in New Hampshire, obviously my faith has grown stronger. So
Yeah.
it's something that you definitely believe, and I've always appreciated that. I always appreciated that about my mom, and as she would see our relationship between my wife and I build, and she would always remind me of that. A lot of holidays and a lot of gatherings and stuff, and so that was kind of a cool deal.
So for you, faith, family, football, in that order, what can you say about this family that you have extended into? I mean, you leave Syracuse, you worked under Scott Schaefer, and that's how we met. You were the offensive line coach. And just so you know, Joe, they've had 72 offensive line coaches since you left. So, but hey,
I'm glad I was in the mix.
All I'm saying, Joe, is you were there for a significant amount of years, and then it was like underpants, and it's just, and no disrespect to anybody, but it's like before you, there was like one or two guys that I knew. It was like, this guy's been here forever. Then Joe's here, and then now it's just been kind of all over the place. Like every single year there was a new one, and now Dale Williams is there, and I like talking with Dale. So I'm hoping the best for him in the future and what that could be. But that's where we met. We met at Syracuse, and then you didn't really journey, right? You went to St. Anselm, and you've been building there. In the coach, I don't want to say you don't journey, because everybody takes a journey. What I mean by that is the coaching world is like 2 years here, a half a year there, 5 years there, 7 years there, 3 years there. You're doing something at St. Anselm that doesn't happen anymore, which is your journey, your path is, as much as you're growing and you're going down it, you've been able to build a program. You've been able to build a foundation, build a culture, build this team up, and you've been through multiple classes and multiple graduating classes that they leave, and you bring in another group, and you continue to win, and you continue to learn, and you continue to grow. What has that experience been like for you? I talked to so many coaches. I just had a good friend of mine was let go by a school here within these last few weeks, and broke my heart because because he's a faithful guy, and he's so much more than just a head coach. And they were starting to turn things around at a program that's been, well, they fired a coach when they were successful, and then they were not successful after that. And I felt like he was turning the corner for them as long as it was taking. And letting him go and they're like still in the top 6. It just didn't make any sense to me. So we live in a world where coaches leave all the time, or coaches are sent packing all the time. Yet every year I talk to you, in many years now, the St. Anselm logo is right there. So bring me into that. How that happens, what's going on, the leadership that you have there, the fact that you have a level of consistency in your home as a coach, which we don't really see any of that anymore.
I mean, this has probably been the most gratifying thing I've ever done in my life. And it really, we were talking about it this morning. We're on the field at 6:20 this morning because I guess that's what uncommon men do. And, that's our model here. And, as far as what we do on Fridays. And so I'm talking with the coaches, and we just had our senior speeches last night in our fire. And it's one of my most fun days as a head coach when you get to listen to the culmination of 4 years of intense work and relationship and all those things that come along with brotherhood and culture, right? And so, I was reminding the guys that my first 2 years here, we won, I think we won two, maybe three games out of the first 20.
Yeah.
I wasn't successful in the win-loss record. And that's not a detriment to the players or the program that was here. It was just a transition in culture and thought process. And so, we kind of designed it and set to work a standard and live a standard here that I've upheld every single day here. And I tell the guys all the time, like, win or lose, you're going to get the same Joe Adam every day. I'm not going to let the score affect how I work and how I go about my business. I pride myself professionally on that, and try to instill confidence in guys when they need it. And so I think it's a lot of it surrounding yourself with like-minded people who believe in and drive the vision every day. I've got a great group of coaches here who we really enjoy hanging out with each other and spending time outside of football. I think that's important. And building deeper relationships that I can they understand where I'm coming from and they know what to give our players when they need to give it. And so that's how we've consistently built it. I think it's like I told the group last night, our job is to love our players and their job is to love each other. And we have a tremendous culture that we've built here together. Yes, as the head coach, I'm the kind of the figurehead, I guess, but I didn't do this all myself. And so I've just found people that believe in the same things I believe, and they're not heavily recruited. I mean, that was kind of the theme of the day last night where, hey, this was my opportunity, or hey, coach believed in me.
Yeah.
And, I guess my gift is I have this innate ability to kind of project out what guys can become, and it's not really what you are when you're 17 and 18. It's what you can become and what type of man that we can build you into. And so I've had a lot of guys who've had a lot of buy-in to what we were trying to do here. And that's how we've kept the culture consistent, along with my athletic director, who's believed in me since day one and never wavered. That's a huge, huge piece of this as well. And so it takes a village to build this thing into what it is. And like I told some people earlier this year, this is not the old St. Anselm anymore. It will never go back that way as long as I'm here. And we're here to win championships. So, yeah.
You said you have this innate ability to just kind of see, right? You can look down the road and kind of see who these people can be, what their potential is. Sometimes when I'm sure they can't even see it themselves, or they don't see it themselves, or maybe they don't believe it. How? Bring me into the how that you can do this, that you can see someone's capability, that you can sift through all the BS. Because, I mean, you're Division II football, right? So it's not as insane as Division I AFBS when it comes to like people just kind of doing whatever they want to do, and NIL and the transfer portal, and everybody leaves every 5 seconds. But it still happens. There's still movement. How do you find somebody's character? How do you get through the lip service and get through the fancy and all that stuff to really, really see? Because what you're saying is you have a very keen eye, and I want to know how.
I think it's the, I think we're all uniquely gifted, right? You have gifts and skills that I don't, Dan, and you accentuate those gifts, and that's kind of my gift here. And I think it starts with, in recruiting, our relationships are not surface level here, with our recruits and our families and our players. And so I want to know what their aspirations are. I want to know what they want to become. I want to know if they're not sure about what they're doing. I want to know, do they get up on Saturday mornings and find a field and go to work?
Yeah.
I want to know if they're Instagram stars or if they're blue collar workers. And those are all the things that you kind of sift through. And the one thing we don't tell people here in recruiting is what they want to hear. I'm very black and white, cut and dry when it comes to that. And so some people like it, some people don't, but I don't play used car salesman here. I don't believe in that. I'm not going to tell you how great you are. We're going to point out the things that we think are really, really strong characteristics of a prospect, but we're also going to talk about, like, okay, well, here's the things we got to work on here, and then get guys that want to be held accountable. I mean, like the average young guy, like, doesn't want to get up at 6 a.m., right? Doesn't want to be coached, doesn't want to be pushed,
Yeah.
wants to go back to their dorm in their, sweatpants and hang out and play video games. So we've just found guys that believe in life a little bit differently and want to be pushed to another level. And so great players and great people want to be coached. That's very apparent. And it's the guys that don't want to be driven or don't have intrinsic motivation or don't want to become something that look at coaching as something that's done to them, not for them. And so they know exactly what page we're on. And we use a little bit of both, right? We use strength and warmth in our coaching here. And we know that it's hard to be a young guy in this society, especially with all the technology and craziness.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have a standard of how we do things here, and we're going to hold people to that standard all the time, 24/7.
Here with Joe Adam, St. Anselm Hawks head football coach here in the 2024 season. Joe, technology, access, NIL, transfer portal, all this stuff that can take away the team and focus on the individual, and everything with technology that can be fabricated and lied about and falsified and filtered. Do you think it's a test from God, or do you think it's the devil trying to dance around?
I think it's a little bit of both. We're living on this earth. This is controlled by the enemy, right? And so I've told my players when they have doubts that's the enemy sowing something into your heart and putting it on your heart and you believing it. And God didn't make you that way. And so I think it's a little bit of both, right? I mean, we have free will, like I was hearing you talk about earlier, and so we have free will to make a choice. What kind of life do we want to live? What kind of people do we want to be? And sometimes we have to edit out the things that aren't important. I've challenged our team in the last, really the last month, while we've been on this run, is to edit out the things in our life that's not important. And so, like, making poor decisions, making questionable decisions. I'm not saying that they don't do that. They're young, man. So,
Yeah.
but I think collectively they understood where we're coming from and what's at stake. And so I think they've done a really good job of trying to do the right things. And so there's always going to be times where, and I've had great players this season who have gotten injured, and it's unfair. There's always times in this life that it's going to be unfair in this world, right? And so great, bad things happen to really good people and people that you love, and that doesn't make that doesn't make it. It just makes it unfair, and just understanding that life inherently is, and just coming to grips with that and saying, okay, well, I'm going to choose to do it this way because that's what my faith tells me to do, not to believe in the social media and look at I was talking about this a couple weeks ago, like the thing that you idolize the most is your master, right? And so, like, if you're
Yeah.
if you're hooked on drugs, that's your master. right? If you're, if you always go to the bottle every day, that's your master, right? And so, like, I'm lucky that my master is Jesus Christ, and his message is one of forgiveness and fulfillment and faith.
Yeah. And I love that statement that what you focus on is what you become. And, what you focus on, what you give the most to is your master. And when God is, and I said it earlier, I said, when God is your compass, you're not ever going in the wrong direction. Because if you start to go in the wrong direction, you feel that pull. You feel that, like, no, Danny, no, Joe. And like you said bad things happen to good people. And I struggled growing up with hearing nice guys finish last, nice guys finish last. And when I was dating growing up, I had people tell me to be a jerk. They said, be a jerk. That's how you're going to get a woman. Just be rude. Like, be rude, be crass, put her down, ignore her, run away from her. And as I got older and couldn't stomach that and still couldn't stomach that, I said, if I get a woman based on disrespecting her and playing games with her, what does that say about where she's at in her life? That she's attracted to bad behavior. And you said bad things happen to good people, and I kept wondering, why do nice guys finish last? And something's come to me over the years. Bad things don't just happen to good people. Bad things happen to everybody, but we only focus on them when they happen to good people. Bad things happen to people that are not great, but we don't care.
Correct.
We don't pay attention. So when people are like, man, bad things happen to good people, I can't believe this bad thing, this injury would happen to this player. I can't believe that this person would have cancer. I can't believe that this person will lose their job. If it's a person that's doing bad things and treating people badly and abusing people, we don't talk about it. And so I think what we need to do to the people that are trying to be good out there is remind you, bad things aren't happening because you're a good person. Bad things happen to everyone, regardless of who you are. It's just when they happen to good people, we don't like it because it doesn't make sense. And we have a belief from our childhood that if you put good in, you get good out. And you eventually do. But Joe, I'd love to hear your thoughts to the point of bad things happen to everybody, not just good people. And how you continue to teach these young men how to navigate life when life is unfair.
Yeah, I mean, you made a great point, and I just got smarter a second ago. So, you're right. I mean, bad things happen in our world, and so, that's why, when you look at it, I'm lucky that the world that I'm living in, right, is temporary, right? That's what my faith tells me. I'm living for this next life that I'm going to have in heaven, hopefully. And, this is not a works-based piece, as the guys in my Bible study on Thursday night always remind me, um, you know, this is not you're not going to be saved because you're a good person. You're not going to be saved because you go help the poor. You're not going to be saved because you donate X amount of dollars to a charity. That's a work-based mentality. That's not what Jesus intended. Jesus wants you to follow him and spread the gospel through faith. And so when tough things happen, as I've told my players, like, count on your faith. And if you don't have faith, come talk to me, and I'll give you a perspective. And maybe you'll take it, and maybe you'll run with it, or maybe you'll say, hey, that's really not for me. Um, but there's a greater thing ahead. And sometimes, I had an injured player last night. He said, man, this injury actually has become a blessing,
Yeah.
because it opened my eyes to some other things and some other relationships that maybe I wouldn't have had if I kept on going the way I was going. So I think it's a faith piece, and it's no different than the faith I had when we lost a game 3-0 in the second game, and everybody was down, and I probably was the only one that wasn't. So because I have faith in our plan, I have faith in our team, and I knew we'd be here in the end, and here the heck we are.
And we're going to talk about that, in just a second. I do want to get to this with you. They talk about the future of this world, and you're with them all the time. And there's this bad rap. There's a grouping, and it's a problem in our society that the media, which I am a part of, but act almost nothing like, the media has a desire to divide and conquer and to continue to break and break and break and break until society is just a bunch of fragmented pieces. Groups of people and young people and everything that's said about them. Well, you're with them all the time. And I'm with them a lot of the time too, because I spend a lot of time with colleges and high schools. Well, I did 2 shows in the last 2 weeks. And I had 2 football teams, West Genesee at the Wildcat. And a couple days ago, they got their game tonight, their semifinal game for sectionals, and Liverpool at Avocolis. Well, I had 2 different instances happen. A couple days ago, when I was at Avocolis with the Liverpool Warriors football team, I asked a kid, I said, who is your favorite superhero in fiction, and who is your favorite real-life superhero? And I forgot who he said in fiction. It was like Batman or something. And he said in real life, Jesus Christ. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And I was like, wow. And the week before that, I had a kid ask me from the West Genesee football team. We were at the Wildcat. And shout out to Dom, who said Jesus Christ, Dom Carroll. And then when we were at the Wildcat, I think it was Jack Lane that asked me this question, their quarterback. He said, who would you, living or dead, who would you want to have dinner with and why? Like, who would you want to just sit down and like an interview? And I said, Jesus Christ. Joe, the room went silent. And I was like, all right, Jesus, if it's only me and you, I'm still going to say what I was going to say if people cheered. And I said, Jesus Christ. I said, I want to know what I'm doing right. I want to know what I'm doing wrong. And I'd want to know what he needs from me. I want to know how I can help him. I want to know what I could do for him, because it's not about me. And he said, okay. I answered that question. And then we finished, and I'm packing up. And Jack comes back up on the stage. He said, Mr. Tortora? I said, yes. He said, I just want to say thank you. When I asked you the question about who you would interview and why, I want to thank you that you said Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ means a lot to me too. And I said, well, that's great to hear, Jack. I appreciate that. He said, and I know I'm young. And he lifts up his sleeve. He goes, but I have a Bible verse here on my sleeve, on my arm. And he said, Jesus just means a lot to me. And I wanted to make sure that I came up and I told you that I really appreciated your answer. I put my hand on Jack's back and I said, keep the faith. See, the media tells us that the youth has forgotten God, they don't have God, they don't know God. But you and I both know that that's a lie. And Joe, I would venture to say that moments like that you may have had with your players, like the moments I've had these last couple weeks, they go beyond the wins and losses to you, because again, they're winning and losing on a hotel, a temporary place for us to be. But you want them to win when they get to go back home. I know you want to win games, but I can imagine being around the youth of today, that when you hear them talk about God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, the Father, when you hear them speak about the Lord, I can imagine to you those are the greater wins.
I mean, absolutely. I think we're on the precipice of a great revival here. I think these guys and these young people are really smart. They're probably smarter than I was when I was back in that age. And, from the digital access perspective, and I think you're seeing that in these times where, as I always remind my guys, is like, hey, be careful the content you consume, and where you're getting your source from, like, and why you're believing that certain thing that was said, because it may be true or untrue, and to walk in truth. every day. And I think there's a great revival of young people who are saying, this ain't it.
Yeah.
I mean, these messages I'm seeing and this TikTok deal and Instagram and mainstream media, this is divisive. It's divisive and this ain't it. There's got to be something better. And I think they're turning to faith. And we aren't meant to be, in living in brokenness. We're not meant to be living in sin. We're not meant to be living in isolation.
Yeah.
And so I'm just reminding them that, hey, there's another way, man. And there's a great gift, and I've been given a great gift. And if you love people, why wouldn't you want to share that? So very careful myself of the content that I consume right now, and I think that's a majority. I've watched here over the last couple days after our election to see the some of the good and the bad, and I think there's stuff on both sides, but um, there's a lot of people that have believed in a thread that is totally untrue.
Yeah. Yeah. I woke up Wednesday morning and the world was still here. And I I definitely find, and I was talking about it earlier in the show, but it was actually my annoying moment of the week that this election stuff has been so divisive and people are mourning and being told to take the day off from school and to just grieve. And I'm like, okay, when my grandfathers passed away, I grieved. When I voted for someone who didn't get in, I was the same human being. And when I voted for someone who has gotten in, I'm the same human being. So my thing is, and I said this to my parents, I said, I go with God. That is where I go. I trust where he leads me. And I do that in voting the same way that I do it in anything. If I feel like him and I are in the same place, then that's where I'm going. If he's in a place that I'm not in, then I need to get there. And, I don't think that anybody's perfect. They're obviously not. But it's been crazy to me, Joe, to see how people have been and how divisive and just, like you said, watch what you consume. And I'm going to say this to you. And I hope that some of your players are watching and listening right now, because I'm going to say something to them that I didn't really pay attention to when I was their age, but I pay attention to it now at 39. I listen to
Mhm.
all kinds of music. The only music I don't listen to is like gangster, I'm going to kill your mother and like hurt these women. I don't listen to that garbage. And I don't listen to screaming music. But I listen to hip hop, I listen to country, I listen to classic rock, I listen to a bunch of different things. Broadway, doesn't matter. R&B. I've realized something, Joe. I can't listen to the same music. I can't be close to God and worship God and be healthy and listen to the same music that I was listening to. So my music has changed.
Facts.
My music has changed, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that a little bit, because music is such a speaker to so many people, and there's certain people that I don't listen to anymore, and there's certain songs I don't listen to anymore, and when I start to listen to them and I start to consume a little bit, there's that like reminder in my head of like, you don't want to go down that road. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're speaking is factual. I've seen that in my own life. I was commenting that a few years ago as I was, kind of taking another step on my faith journey, and I was talking to some of the people in my church, and like my Spotify lists have changed, and like what I look at on TV. I mean, I watch football obviously, but like I don't watch a ton of shows anymore. I don't consume those things. When I hear a lot of vulgarity and a lot of expletives within songs, my ear is kind of tuned a little bit. And hey, I'm a football coach. It ain't like I don't drop any expletives once in a while. So trust me, I'm not perfect myself. But And I've been, I've learned that through some of the people that are in my tight circles here is like, they're like, hey, you're what you look at, what you consume, what you read, what you watch is going to change as your eyes continue to be open to a new experience and your faith continues to grow. And they're spot on, man. I mean, and it's like when I look back when I was like, 23, 24, I'm like, who is that person?
Yeah.
Because I am totally a different person than I was back then. And that's, obviously a little over 20 something years ago. But I would totally agree with you on that. And so, you know, if you if you continue to you walk in faith, then you start to look at things that praise God and that glorify Him and uplift, right? Uplift music and you tend to kind of turn away from like the mainstream media. And I learned this because I was actually it was crazy because one of my pastors came over. She was dropping something off, and then we just happened to it was the one night maybe a year ago that the MTV Music Awards was on or something like that.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I had the thing on in the background, it just started, and I look up at the TV and I look at the pastor, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like I can't watch this. This is, I mean, it's borderline, you know, crazy.
Yeah.
Um, that like and I wouldn't watch it with my wife anyway. It just happened to be on that channel. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And it really opened my eyes to like those are the things that are being streamed. Those are the things that are being content put out to our kids. And like, I don't know, that's what you're gonna follow?
Yeah.
Like, really? Something better, man.
Well, I'll tell you this, Joe. I mean, I used to watch the MTV when I was growing up as a kid. I used to watch the MTV Video Music Awards. I'm disgusted by them. I don't even know what date they're on. I don't even know when they're coming, but if I see a commercial, I'm like, no, I don't watch the Emmy Awards. I don't watch the Academy. Like I don't associate myself with this very like anti-God establishment. And I mean there's people now that are so kind of like outspoken about it that they have demonic stuff in their music videos, in their dances and different
Hmm.
things that they do. Like it's out there. And like you lost me. I told my mom, I said, let's say I was going to vote for a candidate and like I was just going for that candidate. The moment that they say something anti-God, I'll pray for you, but I'm out. And the fact that people have been so bold publicly to do something that's in the Bible, Jesus said, if you forget me in front of the world, I will forget you in front of my Father. And so to me, it's like that stuff sticks. But Joe, I'll tell you this: when I'm driving now, there's a little more Nora Jones and a little less Lil Wayne. So I mean, it's
Sure.
definitely changed. There's a lot more Phil Collins, and the funniest thing about Phil Collins radio is when I was a kid and we talk about, like you have a cool mom, I have a cool mom. And when I was a kid, my mom used to bowl during the day at Lakeview and it had a big penguin on the outside, this bowling alley. And so she would go bowling and she put me in the daycare. And the daycare would play, and there would be music that was playing in the bowling alley. That music I associate with like this. It's just like it lifts me up. It brings me back to being a kid, and I associate with that music.
Yeah.
This is how incredibly amazing and purposeful God is. I haven't heard these songs in 20 years, 30 years. It's been forever. I put on Phil Collins radio on Pandora, and like two or three of the songs from my childhood in that like nursery thing, they came back into my life. And like I'm hearing these songs and I'm like, I put on Phil Collins and the ones that are coming on are not Phil Collins. And these songs are coming back in my
Right.
life, like Mandolin Rain and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm so like uplifted from God. But God does that stuff in my life all the time. It's numbers, it's music, it's the way things happen,
Mhm.
it's things you have in common with people. I always feel like God going like, like doing that wink and like pointing to you like,
Yep.
that was me. That was me.
Yep.
And I mean, do you have that? Do you get those things like in and out of football? Do you have those like daily moments where God speaks to you directly? And even if people think you're crazy, you're like, no, no, I know that he said that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that usually I walk before practice and I try to get, I don't have a lot of quiet time as a head football coach. I sleep 5 hours a night. The players look at me like I'm crazy, but that's just kind of my routine. And so,
Yeah.
I get up, I do my thing, and I'm checking, answering emails, DMs all day long, catering to the players, coaching the coaches up. My wife looks at me like, "How do you do all this?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." So, and then I really appreciate my quiet time, and that's when I have a chance to walk. And sometimes it's smoking a cigar, sometimes it's not, and so I really appreciate that quiet time. That's the time for myself, and the time for me to kind of reframe and refocus. And sometimes it's thinking about life, and sometimes it's listening to worship music or something like that. And that's really the time that I have, and that's when I got to kind of listen to those messages. And I think this season, right before the end of the or after the end of the game, where we all circle up, like I've kind of like whispered and quietly spoken to God, and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to say here? And what's the message I need to bring to my team? And really count on him. It's not me, so I count on him to kind of deliver that message, and then move forward. Whether it's good or bad, move forward at the end and get to the new day, the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You always just kind of, there's little prayers I say to God, little prayers that go a long way. Here with Joe Adam, faith, family, and football with the St. Anselm Hawks head football coach here in the 2024 season. Getting into what's ahead of you. You and I are talking on the eve of a game against New Haven at home in your stadium in Manchester, New Hampshire. That game against New Haven, you both have the same record in the conference, 5-1. Overall, you're 5-3. New Haven is 6-2. A win over New Haven will give you the outright first place in the NE10 conference with a game to play after that. You win this game, you control your controllables, you put yourself in a position where you will be at the top of this conference. The team that you play after is on the road at Bentley in Massachusetts. Bentley is in third place. Bentley has a 4-2 record in the conference, and they're tied with Assumption and Franklin Pierce, who you just defeated. So this conference is very close, but everything in these last 2 weeks is within the taking for you. You don't have to win and wait. You don't have to wish and hope. This is within your control. Bring me into what this team has done to fight to where they are right now, to play meaningful games in November that can give you the conference outright as your own if you take care of what you need to take care of.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's a cliche term, but it's culture, man. Our guys wholeheartedly believe in culture. They're culture builders, and they take coaching, right? And kudos to our coaching staff. They put the right pieces in the right place at the right time. And you have to stay healthy at some positions. And was it a surprise to me after starting 0-2? No, because I know what we have in the tank. I know the type of people that we are, and I have a full confidence and faith in my team. And so we just continue to get better and better throughout each week. We've practiced at a high level. We've been guys when it's time to be guys, and we've been serious when it's time to be serious, man. So I've appreciated them and their preparation for how we've gone about our business. And that culmination of those things has really put us into an opportunity here where, just to try to go 1-0 in all the decisions and all the actions that we have every day, hold each other accountable to a great standard, and give us a chance. Everybody works hard, right? I mean, every team works hard in the NCAA, You have to do it better than most to get to a point like this. And so um, we're we're just a collection of, I guess, imperfectly perfect people. And we enjoy each other's company. We're a tight-knit unit, and we have a ton of confidence going into tomorrow afternoon and getting to play in front of our home crowd. And you know, arguably, probably for us, it's another game, but if you look around campus, it's probably the biggest game in the 25-year history of our college football program.
Yeah,
But I don't look at that. I just look at it as a chance to play another quality opponent and execute our plan for what we want to do.
yeah, and like you said, I mean, this is a massive opportunity, and like you said, to you, it's another game. To St. Anselm, this could be the biggest game in the history of the football program. When we look at Division Two and how things kind of there's four super regions and there's conferences broke up into each region. You're in Super Region One, so taking care of business for argument's sake, there's
Mhm.
there's no automatic qualifier, right?
No, not yet, not yet, not until we'll vote on that at the national convention here in January.
So it's not like you win your conference, you're in outright, which I think is wrong. And I think I would hope that coaches are going to vote for the opportunity of an automatic qualifier because what's the point of the regular season? If you win your conference, you should get in. And I'd be happy to vote. Joe, call me in. I'll be another vote for this. But I do think that that's important. But the way that it's set up, so if you take care of business here, are they looking at your strength in games that are out of conference as well? Are they looking at the strength of the region of where you play in the Northeast? How are they? And I'm not trying to make you get ahead of yourself. I'm just saying in general, these players are playing for something. They're playing for the next game. They have 2 games left in the regular season. They have an opportunity to win the NE10. But when we're looking at this nationally, break it down from a coach's perspective, what this looks like for St. Anselm wanting to play more than 2 games.
Yeah, you'll have to be, the regional rankings, they take a number of criteria. Coach McKenzie at Assumption is on the RAC, the committee, and so is our athletic director. And so they have their meetings and they go through, win-loss records, quality opponents, a number of criteria that are applicable to, the teams in the region, the NE10, the PSAC, and some of the other conferences in the league. So, you'd hope that whoever would win this league would have a chance, whoever that may be, to have a chance to continue on. And it's been quite some time, man, since I was in the playoffs. Back in my Grand Valley State days in Division Two. But I'd certainly love to get back there. And but we're gonna take it one climb at a time, and 1 week at a time. But if we can get this one tomorrow, then I think that opens up a plethora of possibilities.
So bring me into New Haven because Bentley, who you'll play at the end of the season, you already played Bentley in the game that you alluded to earlier, the 3-0 loss on September 14th of this season, but you haven't played New Haven yet this season. So bring me into New Haven into this matchup. They're 5-1 in the NE10. You're 5-1 in the NE10. They're 6-2 overall. You're 5-3 overall. This is a massive game because you get a victory in this game, you have the top of the conference. They get a victory in this game, they create more separation between you and them. So bring me into New Haven and what this matchup brings this week.
Yeah, ultra talented team, on both sides of the ball and special teams. Coach Pinson's does a tremendous job over there in New Haven, and they've got a really good coaching staff. They've got weapons at a lot of places. Their top three running backs probably could play anywhere in the NE10. They've got a huge offensive line. Their defense is the number one scoring defense in the league, and you've got returning quarterback. They've got, I think I counted 26 graduate students. We have none, and so that's kind of how it was a year ago. And everyone kind of thought that we laid down at homecoming, and then we snapped their 18 game win streak at home. So we've always played them tough. In the last 5 years. We beat them in 19, then we had 2020 COVID. 21, they got the better of us there. 22 he was here was a tight game, very similar to kind of where we are right now. Last year we beat them, and so our kids are confident in our plan. They've executed really well, and so we're going to have to to minimize their weapons, take opportunities where they become available, win the special teams battle. And then this game may come down to the final 2 minutes or the final drive in the fourth quarter. And so if that's the case, we'll be battle tested and ready and hopefully ready to pull one out.
What's it like to be in your home stadium? Describe the atmosphere and your anticipation for this upcoming game.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we've always been a hard out at home, and we've played really well the last 3 years at home, which is not was not the case in my early time here. I think they've had a ton of pride into how we do it. Our parents group has been tremendous. The crowds have been awesome. The student um, exposure and the faculty and staff coming out. Football has become a thing here on Saturdays now at this small college, and that wasn't always the case. And so I'm really proud of that brand that we've built. We've done it together, and so it's very vibrant. There's a ton of energy here on campus. There's no parking whatsoever, so you better get here early. And but I have a ton of alumni coming back, guys that have reached out to me and Coach, man, I can't wait to see this. I'm flying in for the game. That speaks volumes about people that want more of what we have here, and even guys that played for us. So I'm excited to feel the energy of the crowd and just put the ball down and get to work.
Yeah, and for your team, offense, defense, and special teams on your side of it, Joe, what can you say to that effect from the beginning of the season to this point in the season? All three phases are important. Where is the team offensively, defensively, and on special teams? I don't want to single out just one person. I know that you've had, honorees throughout the season for different things, but just where these phases started and where they are, and kind of breaking down where this team is as they step into such a huge moment in their season and in the history of St. Anselm.
Yeah, yeah, our offense has matured tremendously over the season. We were getting contributions from a lot of different people. We had some injuries at running back. We had a true freshman step in and take the reins, which is hard to do when you're 18 years old. We've played a couple quarterbacks this season. Drew Forkner's really taken over that role, and their offensive line has been solid, and they've kept people off the quarterback. And like I said, we've got contributions from 5, 7 wide receivers, and kudos to our coaching staff for looking at what we do well, and even more so attacking the other team's weaknesses, which is what we've done here really in the last 5 weeks. And they've done a tremendous job of it. Defensively, we have a standard of how we play. The offenses are actually better in the league than they were a year ago. So, statistically, we're probably about 3 points off per game, giving up what we normally do. But we have a tenacity on defense. We have a standard. We want to fill the bucket with turnovers, create momentum, stop the run. We've gotten a ton of performance from our secondary, who's been covering people left and right in the league. Our linebacking crew, who I coach, I'm tremendously proud of them. We're getting contributions from a lot of different players. And then defensive line, they've been stalwarts. They've played a lot of snaps. We haven't rotated a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're ultra talented, and they play really, really hard. And then in the teams game, kickoff return has been a huge weapon for us. This year we've been like this close to like breaking 3 or 4 of those for touchdowns. Hopefully it happens tomorrow. And Coach Brain has done, as the director of special teams, done a tremendous job with the entire groups, along with the rest of our coaches, who and even I coach on special teams as well. So we've all had a hand into it, but he's spent the most time, and then having Sean Hurley really come out after Pat Carroll got hurt in game one, and solidify our place kicking has been tremendous for us. So we're getting contributions from a lot of different players, probably 50 to 55 players a game. And so nobody has an ego here. They've checked it at the door. It's for the betterment of the team, and that's why I think we're thriving.
I love it. And I got to ask you this before we jump into rapid fire. When you've used a couple different things, you use the BCM, blue collar mentality, and you use, and then like after a game when you win, you'll put up like how many it is, like what's going on, and you'll take a selfie with. I don't like saying the word. Let me get away from. I don't like saying the word selfie. It bothers me.
Selfie.
So
Yeah.
I can't. I said it. It was coming out of my mouth. I was, "Heh." So when you took a picture with your team, you have this thing that you've been doing for a few years where, when you
Yep.
guys win and you have these moments, you have this like big kind of celebration on the field with the team. And then you also use, BCM and some of the other things that you've said here today. Just what you could say to those effects and how you believe that that's helped your culture to have those moments together, to celebrate the moment, to capture the moment, and then to use things like blue collar mentality.
Look, I told the players the other day, you're living the best life that you're going to live right now. Man, you're in college, you're with your boys, you're playing ball, like you're playing Saturday morning. Like what I mean, what's better than this right now? And so I think sometimes even me, sometimes I take it a little bit too seriously. That's my way to kind of like have some fun with the guys. I mean, we work tremendously hard, man. I mean, like we're working 80, 90 hours a week as coaches. And that's the truth. And so I'm going to celebrate the hell out of those wins. And because I know what's gone into it, I know the preparation, I know the amount of time, drawing cards, coaching, film studies, meetings, all those things, drill work, it all goes into the preparation. So like I said, we're a team that works hard and plays hard. And so, we believe in blue collar mentality. We believe in outworking people. We believe in relentless work ethic. We believe in championship character, and we believe in unselfishness for team. And if you have recruits out there that believe in those things, then I want to talk to them because they'd be a great fit for what we're trying to do here.
I love it. Joe Adam, big time game coming up. The head of the NE10 is up for grabs here. The top place in the NE10 is up for grabs this weekend at home for St. Anselm against New Haven. We're going to play some rapid fire. Joe, you get to ask the first question. What do you got?
If you are going to travel on a plane tomorrow, what destination are you going to?
Oh, man. I actually thought about traveling on a plane tomorrow, and I'm not kidding about that. So, I actually did. I talked to my mom about it yesterday. I'm like, man, I haven't been down to Florida in a minute, and I miss my aunt and my uncle. They're like other parents to me. Papa Joe and Mary. Papa Joe joins me every Thursday on the show because he's such a incredible mind when it comes to sports. He's got a good heart. So, I mean, Florida is where I was thinking of going. There's a lot of places. I mean, if I got on a plane right now, Colorado, Hawaii, Italy, Spain, but for real, there's some that I have that are jokes in my head that I'll leave in my head. So, some of them are funny, but I would probably say, like, if I got on the plane tomorrow, I mean, I got to be honest with the conversations I had, right? So if I got on the plane tomorrow, my dog Lily and I would be going to Florida. So I still don't
Cool.
know if I'm going or if I'm not going, but yeah, I've thought about it. So I'm going to say Florida, but the rest of the list, I mean those as well. I am the type of spontaneous person that if I haven't made plans and given somebody my word, like I'm going to be here for this, and I have that like 3 or 4 days, if you call me up and you're like, hey man, come up to the game tomorrow, I'd be like, cool. So I mean, like that's kind of
Yep.
where I live. By the way, Syracuse, we need to get some direct flights to New Hampshire. I don't know what we're doing right now, but it's like in order for me to get to New Hampshire, I think I have to go to New York City or I have to go to
Yep.
Detroit and then I have to go over. So, just
Probably.
make it a little easier for Joe and I.
No kidding.
My question back to you, Joe. Well, now I want to know, where would you go if you could pick up and leave after the game tomorrow and go somewhere for a few days, or where'd you go?
I'm probably, because I have a direct flight from Boston, I'm probably going to Aruba with my wife. So that's our spot. And probably second choice is Rome. So those are two easy picks for us. I do it in a heartbeat. I have a number of other places I'd like to see, but I'm a spontaneous traveler as well, and so after the end of the season, I'll be traveling, not only recruiting, but I'll actually take a little bit of personal time and try to recharge before we hit this next class.
Do you like shut it all down? Like when you go and you're having like this trip and it's personal and it's just for you to relax. Do you kind of like let people know ahead of time, like I love you all to pieces, but I'm gonna like detach. I'm not gonna be answering my phone. I'm not gonna be texting. I'm just gonna kind of like, not in a mean way, but I need to like shut down the engines, recharge the batteries. Are you like that?
No. Yeah, I try to be. Unfortunately, no. The answer, I gotta have to be truthful.
Yeah.
I mean, I got two commits, man, on my last year's trip to Aruba because they were so eager to jump in, and I was well, I'm not talking on the phone because I don't have the international plan. I'm not some big time head ball coach now. And I was like, okay, if I don't buy the international plan, my wife can't see me like talking on the phone.
True.
But they're like, hey, coach, can we FaceTime video? I'm like, here we go. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my wife and I'm talking to the staff. I'm like, guys, I got more commits on my trip than I did while I was in New Hampshire at our official visits. I said maybe I should go on vacation more. But no, if I shut it down, I mean it'll be mass hysteria. I mean, you want to talk about the next apocalypse, man. That's what it would be, because I'd come back, there'd be 500 DMs on my Twitter, there'd be 400 emails, and it would take me a week just to go through that. It ain't like the next group comes in and stops. So either that or I'd have to hire some temporary workers to go through my stuff. So I try to do it in the morning, shut it down, during the day, and then if there's something I need to revisit at night, I'll do it. But there is no shutting it down. I'm not a 9 to 5 person. I don't believe in that at all.
Yeah.
I believe that when you shut things down, unfortunately, you get beat in our business. So it's not something that it's something I try. I just can't do it, man. Not right now. Maybe when I'm retired, and who knows?
Well, you said it to me, something that I thought and I worked toward, but you're the person that outright said it to me. It was one of the nicest compliments, and I'll never forget it. When you were in Detroit airport and I flew into Detroit, and you were flying through it and I was flying through it, and we caught each other we were texting each other, and we were talking on the phone, and you were like, hey man, how's it going? I was like, good. It's been crazy doing this and that. And you're like, yeah, I've done this for the last 3 days. And you said something to me that I will never forget. You're like, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this as a coach. And you're like, well, you get it. And I was like, thank you, Joe, because you don't have to be a coach in this sports and entertainment world to like, and you and I are cut from the same cloth. We're go-getters. We want to achieve things. When we achieve something, we want to achieve the next thing, not because we're greedy, but because, I don't know, I'm driven by creativity and originality, and I don't copy people. If they copy me, that's their choice. But like, I love to create. And I'll never forget that day in the Detroit airport when I was talking to you on the phone and I was like, man, I'm all over the place, chicken with my head cut off, doing all this stuff. And then you're like, well, you get it. And I called up my mom and my dad, and I was like, Joe sees the work, because like sometimes you wonder, like, do people see the work that you put in? And especially when you own your own company, and they're like, well, what keeps you from just watching TV and eating Cheerios in your underwear all day? And I was like, I'm the toughest boss that I've ever had. Like the bosses that I had, if you combine them, they don't ask I'll work 16 hours and I'll be like, should I work 17? So I have done better at doing things to prepare myself to have a family someday. I'm very in love with what I do. And
Sure.
and I know you can appreciate that. And so, you're never really like out of it, but I will tell you this. when you meet a good woman, as you have, when you
Yep.
meet a good woman and she's on the beach and she looks like that, put your phone down.
Yep. Yep.
What's
Amen to that.
What's your second question for me?
So you're going into the ice cream shop, okay? You know, whichever place you're going. I know you have some local places that you work with over there, and
Yeah.
so what flavor are you getting, or is there something special and unique that you're like that's your go-to?
Well, Carvel DeWitt, the oldest Carvel in the continental United States, has allowed me the opportunity to not only be partnered with them for 11 years, and I've worked with Carvel corporately as well, but they've let me have multiple Sundays. And the one I have right now is a Lemoyne based Sunday. Put it all together because I have an exclusive with Lemoyne. So it is called the DT Dolphin. It's mint chocolate
Sweet.
chip, green for the Dolphins, hot fudge, whipped cream, a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. And just so people know, Carvel can put different things, different like casts of, animals or whatever onto their cakes. They don't have a dolphin one that Carvel requires them to have. So Carvel DeWitt may be the only Carvel in the world that has a chocolate dolphin. And we did that for Lemoyne. If I was picking outright, so I mean, that's my Sunday and I love it and it tastes really good. If I was picking, so I have two that I like: chocolate chip cookie dough, because it's just fantastic. And there's something that I make, there's a concoction that I make that people have, I'm not going to say the names that they've called me because they're unsavory and not nice, but I have been known to make cotton candy ice cream with coconut and Kit Kat. And people are like, what is wrong with you? And then they try it and then they go in for a second spoonful and I go, no, I'm sorry. This is only for the messed up people, as you've stated. So I have been known to have some crazy concoctions. I like bubblegum ice cream. I like cotton candy ice cream. I will always be a big kid. If anything is flavored cotton candy, including grapes. Now they have cotton candy grapes in the stores.
Yes.
I buy those. So yeah, I'm a child in my heart of hearts. But the DT Dolphin's really good. Go get it at Carvel, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, 7 days a week. But yeah, chocolate chip cookie dough is probably like, that's like my thing. Because there's something about the
Cool.
texture of the cookie dough and the ice cream. My question back to you, Joe. I'm going to stay with food. All right, this is a question that's been on my mind recently. I want to know the one food you can't live without, and I want to know the food that if you could look up at God right now and God says, I'll delete it from history, it'll never have existed. I'll snap my fingers, Joe, and it's gone. What food do you tell God to get rid of?
First question, I really enjoy steak, man. So I mean, like I'm a protein type of guy, man. That's me through and through. So
Okay.
I'm rolling with that all day long. Um, you're boy, the second part of that question is a tough dog because there's not a lot of things I dislike. I mean, you got to decide, like, is this something that's probably not good for me that I should take out, or is it something that I kind of dislike that we should just remove out of the whole existence here?
You can go either way.
Uh, yeah, I know, man. Gosh, hmm. I'm gonna go crazy here, and you're probably gonna get upset at me, but I'm gonna say pasta. I'm not a huge pasta fan. It doesn't do it for me. My second is probably hot sauce. Doesn't do it for me, or
I'm
A1
leaving the
steak sauce,
studio.
Yeah, there you go. I think pasta is probably a little bit it's probably more of a preference, but I'm not a big hot sauce person. I don't like the smell of vinegar.
Me neither.
And so when like people are around me, they're putting on their eggs or their hash browns, whatever, it drives me crazy. But um, I'll tell you what, yeah, so we can keep our friendship, I'll replace the pasta with the hot sauce, and pasta will be a down the road second.
Okay, that's fine. No, I cannot. Since I was a child, we had a teacher in fifth grade, love her to pieces. She had a vinegar gallon in the. She had it in our closet, and that's where we put our lunches. And when the sun hit it, you could. I can't. If I smell vinegar, if I smell it, if I smell the faintest, I can't because it smells like feet.
Yeah.
It's so gross and it's disgusting and it's wrong and it's awful. And when I was working at Disney, if I was working on the popcorn cart, which I didn't work on a lot, thank God, in order to clean the cart, we had to dump vinegar in it and we had to sit there with it. And so I would literally put my shirt over my nose. I would hold my nose as long as I possibly could because it makes me gag. It's gross. But yeah, vinegar. And by the way, if you like salt and vinegar chips, don't tell me if you want to keep our friendship. That's what I would tell the
No,
people. Like,
I can't do it either, man. I draw a line there. So, I mean, we can be friends. We're not going to hang out very
we
often.
can be friends. You just can't come to the house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, with that to come to the house. Exactly.
So what's your last one for me?
If you had to choose one soda drink in the history of sodas, right? And that was your last soda that you could have, what would it be?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because I really don't drink soda anymore. I
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was
You
messing
can
with.
replace it with any type of drink that's not water.
Okay, so I mean, I can tell you that Coke Zero I really like, and I like cherry vanilla Coke Zero, and I like raspberry vanilla Coke Zero, and I think I should get credit for creating the raspberry Coke Zero that they now call Coke Spiced because I've been doing it in the freestyle for years. But
Hmm.
yeah, I soda it dries out my throat, it plugs my nose, it makes me feel bloated, I gain weight. So there's a lot of things that it's not healthy for me. And so I don't really drink it anymore. But if I was gonna drink soda, it would be Coke Zero, and it would probably be the Oreo Coke Zero because it's actually pretty good, or it would be because I had stopped, and then I was like, let me try the Oreo Coke Zero, and I tried it for a
Yeah,
little while, but yeah, so I don't really drink anymore, but I would say Coke Zero or Oreo or Coke Zero Raspberry. I think I would pick
cool.
those. All right, my question back to you, Joe. There's a bunch of places I can go with this. All right, so I want to ask you this one. What is the greatest piece of advice that you've ever been given, and who gave it to you?
Mm. I've had so many great mentors. Um, there's one I really use that Chuck Martin, I learned from Chuck Martin when he was at Grand Valley State. He's the head coach at Miami of Ohio. He's a tremendous man, tremendous football coach. I remember him saying, "Fail fast and move on." And I've preached that for probably about 20 years, man, to a bunch of thousands of different players and coaches and my own kids. And I've always believed that, you know what I mean? And so fail fast, move on. Um, there is no such thing as there's winning and there's learning, right? There is no such thing as losing. So when you lose, you learn. And fail fast, move on, play the next play. Don't let one play affect the next 70 plays. And so
Yeah.
fail fast and move on is what I credit Chuck for.
Yeah. I love that. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't feel like I've ever failed by trying and by putting myself out there. So when you hit those road bumps and you hit those moments, to me, it's like, okay, it's a moment. And I think I've done a better job at blowing past those moments and not letting those moments beat you twice. But it's just funny how a broadcaster watches sports and says, you can't let that interception beat you on the next possession. But I was letting interceptions beat me on every possession. So you got to learn from what you see. You got to learn from what you know. And what's the point of knowledge and wisdom and experience if you don't use it? So shout out to Chuck
Yeah.
for that. Much love for that. I think the other best piece of advice is when you said pasta and this voice inside your head, I'm going to call it God, said you probably don't want to say that to Dan right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Because what I have last night.
I think God was testing you, man. He was wanted to test the friendship. That's all it was.
Yeah. Well, you not liking pasta. Listen, my grandmother was a fantastic cook, made amazing stuffed shells, and she hated pasta, and she's Italian. So, I mean, she made this fantastic food, and she didn't even eat it. So,
Yeah, I don't hate anything. So that's a strong word. So
yeah.
there's things that I prefer and there's things I don't prefer. That's kind of what I roll with.
Yeah. Understood. Well, with that being said, for Joe Adam, St. Anselm Hawks head football coach, they got a massive game tomorrow. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but you need to be there tomorrow. The game is against New Haven, and it is for the opportunity to be at the top of the NE10. The game is going to be played at 1 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, November 9th. And, of course, you can get more information by going to StAnselmHawks.com and going to the football page. Joe, you get the final word. What do you want to say?
No, just appreciate seeing you, man. It's been a while. We get in season, we get busy. Excited about the opportunity. We work tremendously hard. A lot of off-season workouts, a lot of 6 a.m.ers. In the winter here in February and March when it's cold out. So I'm excited for our kids. I'm excited for our coaches, and looking forward to the opportunity to show some blue collar mentality tomorrow at Grapponi Stadium.
Yeah, Grapponi Stadium, 1 o'clock, Saturday, November 9th. Don't be late, and wear your colors. Are you doing any type of white out or blue out? Are we doing any of those or no?
We're wearing all blue and they're wearing yellow tops. So it should be a nice contrast.
Okay, I like it. So go have fun, everybody. Enjoy the game. And Joe, as always, my best to you for being the human being that you are. These conversations always feel like they're 5 minutes and I have a million other things to ask you or talk about. And here we are. It's almost noon and I promised people I'd be here till 11. So thank you for your positivity. Thank you for your faith. And thank you for always being there for me. And even when we're not around each other, I can still feel that love and that support. So that goes a long way with me. And you can always eat at my table, Joe.
Appreciate you, brother.
Right,
thanks again for having me on.
You too. Take care. See you.
All right, bud.
See you.
See ya.
That coming from Joe Adam one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We have not taken a commercial break this entire show. It is almost noon, and I have not taken a single break. That's not true. Did I take one break? No, I didn't take any breaks. I didn't take a break today. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back after this. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. Had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality, and I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really in large part changed that value system for employees, so they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I could tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. In my opinion, there's no better place to go when you're looking for cards. And if you've never collected cards before, what are you waiting for? We have favorite teams, right? We have favorite players. We have favorite things we like to do. We like playing trading card games, like playing games with the kids, with our family. Pokemon, Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, soccer, hockey, baseball, basketball, football. It's all there at GG Cards and Breaks. While supplies last, they have a great array of awesome product, from boxes to open, to packs to open, to graded cards. They have graded Pokemon cards. They have graded cards when it comes to basketball, football, baseball, so many different things. They just brought in a whole new shipment of cards that are graded. And you say, Dan, what's a graded card? Well, SGC and PSA and so on and so forth. they grade these cards out of 10, 10 being the best grade that it can get. It's considered a gem mint card, right? So you get those cards that come back to you. You got a rookie card of Brett Favre. That's pretty nice. You got a rookie card of Brett Favre that's got a gem mint 10. Woo, now that's worth some more money. I have a LeBron James that's graded a PSA 9 rookie card. Really good shape. Sold my Steph Curry, sold my 2 Pat Mahomes, my one that was graded a 10 out of 10, and the other one that was raw, which means it wasn't graded. It just had it in its top loader. So there's so many different ways to connect in the sports card world. I love being over there. Josh and Anthony do a tremendous job. The staff does a tremendous job. And it is time for you to get over to GG Cards and Breaks. It's local. It's a small business. And they grow it in such a great way every single day. And I can't thank them enough for the work that they do. It's fun to be around there. It's fun to be around the guys. And it's just great to be a big kid. 639 Delmar Place, Syracuse, New York, just off of Teal Ave. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. So get your tail over there today. With that being said here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. I want to thank you for being with us through that extended fast break, as we did not do a single commercial this entire show all the way through our 3 segments, and then our 3 signature segments we do every Friday, and then our final segment, our live conversation with Joe Adams. So, I mean, that just goes to show you here on the show, there's no lack of content, right? Some shows can get away with, okay, we got a commercial and we got to do this, and we got to do the, pause for the station this, and we got to do this, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. And, we don't do that. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, what we tell you you're going to get, that's what you're going to get. So, it's important to me to not start late and to make sure that we give you your time. 2 hours here on the show, we consistently go over. And so it's important to me to underpromise and overdeliver. So I will be with you at 9 o'clock from here on out, and barring any emergency or anything like that, which hopefully we never have. Or if it is anything, it's something good. And, we love being here with you. I love being here with you. My guests, I love having them on the show. Love all the companies we get to work with. So we will see you next week at 9 a.m. sharp. And we appreciate being with you as always, right here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Always an honor and a privilege. We're with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on live internet streaming radio on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive. I already added the fantasy football to the archive from yesterday. There's different things that are going to be added there today, including all of our Liverpool specials that we did at Avicoli's. So make sure you look out for those. They're going to be added within the hour of this broadcast ending, and you'll be able to find all that content, over 1,600 episodes just on Podbean alone. All you have to do to find these episodes is go to Amazon Prime, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube, among others. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you'll be able to catch us on any one of these outlets. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. Whatever they need you to do on there, subscribe, follow. It's all free, but make sure you do it so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. And I appreciate everyone who has supported us over the years when it comes to our show and everything we do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It really does mean a lot, so thank you for that. Big time thanks to our incredible partners down in the great state of North Carolina. We have a fantastic Brooklyn Pickle location. Those of you here in upstate New York, you know what Brooklyn Pickle is all about. And in North Carolina, you're starting to learn about the Brooklyn Pickle, and it will quickly become your favorite sandwich shop. Head over to the Brooklyn Pickle today on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. All you have to do is get yourself over. It's right by Pinehurst Golf Courses. So head over there, pick out a sandwich, and get ready to chow down on something that is amazing. You definitely, a lot of places, you look at the food and you say, wow, they're giving us this little amount of food for what we're paying for it. Well, when you go to Brooklyn Pickle, in my opinion, you look at that and say, wow, we're getting a heck of a lot of food for what we're paying for it. It's one of those places that doesn't skimp on the amount of food that you get. And you get a whole sandwich, it's like having two sandwiches. You get a half a sandwich, it's like having a whole. So get yourself over to the Brooklyn Pickle on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina today. Let them know that DT sent you. I want to thank all of our partners here in upstate and central New York. Many, many thanks to the incredible team that we've been able to assemble here by the grace of God in my home community. Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servo-Mation, Mother's Cupboard, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Great Lakes Honda City, Bryan's Landing, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins during Dolphin Time Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time weekly. You will find the Dolphins here with me, student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. And of course, you can find them by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll have our entire Lemoyne playlist at your fingertips of over 3 years of content you will not find anywhere else. Not this amount of content, not the way that we do it here on Wake Up Call, and not the exclusive access that we have to the student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can also go to wakeupcalldt.com, wakeupcalldt.com. Go there, and you will find on our homepage, as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab, you will find the wonderful Lemoyne Dolphins. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. And as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month here in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. We just did the selection show. I had the honor and the privilege of being the MC for the men's and women's soccer national tournament selection show. You can find all of those videos, the exclusive interviews, and the exclusive content inside the room, and the in-the-moment reaction to finding out their seeding for both men's and women's soccer. All of that is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's also on our social media, Facebook at wakeupcalldt, X at calldt, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. You'll find your Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find Binghamton every week during Bearcat time, and that happens Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss a second with your Bearcats here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, student athletes, coaches, administration, and their fearless leader, Binghamton University Athletics Director, Gene Marshall. All of our content is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, I want to thank Carvel for the annoying moment of the week, Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, top dog of the week coming to you from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, honoring Joe Adam and his mom, who has recently returned to the wonderful home of heaven. Big time thanks to Joe Adams, St. Anselm Hawks head football coach, who has an opportunity with his team tomorrow at home at Grapponi Stadium to take first place in the NE10 and give them an opportunity to be selected for the NCAA Division II National Football Tournament, which is huge. So step by step, tomorrow's step at 1 o'clock, Saturday, November 9th, be at Grapponi Stadium to cheer on the St. Anselm Hawks. They take on New Haven. They got the same record in the conference. Whoever wins it's got a really good opportunity of winning the conference outright in the NE10. So thanks to Joe. God bless to you all. Have a wonderful day. Remember that faith is a good thing. May our loved ones in heaven always be with us and us with them, despite them passing away, because Jesus destroyed our death and restored our life. So nothing, including death, can truly keep love apart. So may love be the bridge. May God be that bridge. God is love. And may he keep us with our loved ones here on earth, our loved ones to come, and of course, our loved ones that have passed on. May we all be together by the grace of the Almighty God. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Have a beautiful day. Thanks to Ma and Pa's for being the snack capital of the world. You need to get your popcorn ready, and the way to do that is to go to 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. God is good. You are amazing. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, Joe. Thank you to all of you. Stay safe. Stay well. Support your Bobcats, your Dolphins, your Bearcats, the Orange, and I'll talk with you, and everyone. And I'll talk with you all very, very soon. We got playoff high school football going on in the community this week, including tonight. So make sure you go out and support your kids, support your alma mater, support the wonderful coaches and student athletes. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you stay safe and stay well. God bless. No stress.